What up? And welcome to another episode of From the Script to the Screen, My Hero Academia Edition. Episode 9 of Season 7 is out now, so as always, gotta shout out the creator, Kohei Horikoshi. I want to give a shout out to the studio, Bones. Appreciate all parties involved. They covered chapters 353 to right about the end of 355, again of volume 36. That has Dabi and Todoroki on the cover. And this episode starts off with the hero side celebrating the news that Todoroki was in fact successful of taking them down. You know that they had this intricate plan of splitting up the villains so that they'd be able to take them on in favorable circumstances for the heroes. And so it's a positive sign that Todoroki was able to do his part of things. And again, we got to remember that he's a kid. And so the young man was able to step up. You see All Might be very emotional about it, and that spreads out through the sides, especially with the students, again, being happy for their classmate. You know, it's a personal thing involving him. And we see it actually galvanize the rest of the characters. Again, understandable because they have been on the losing side of things for the most part. And speaking of the villains, we do got to give another little shout out to All For One, because we see that he was also prepared in this instance, and he set out some attacks himself. We see that they're trying to free Gigantomachia and Kurogiri, who again would be very beneficial. We see how useful their quirks are. The heroes are using Kurogiri's quirk right now, and Gigantomachia is basically taking an actual Titan from Attack on Titan and putting him in My Hero Academia. Super overpowered. So we see the heroes put a concentrated front, trying to make sure that that doesn't happen. But we also get a good look at Spinner and why his appearance has changed. And All For One has given him a quirk I think is similar to Muscular, maybe. Just makes him bigger. Probably expanded his muscle size or something like that. But again, having a large, strong reptile on the battlefront is a problem. And he's leading a charge of heteromorphs to the hospital where they're keeping him. And that's another look into the dark corner of the Hero Society. And we know that the people's quirks who happen to change their body structure for whatever reason are looked down upon. So that's something that they'll get into another time. But definitely got to end with All For One, the Demon Lord. And we see that the concentrated front is Hawks and Endeavor trying to basically exhaust him and trying to see if they'll be able to break his life support. He is debilitated, and we know that his main push is trying to preserve his life, and so they're trying to see if they'll be able to break him down. But All For One, being the master manipulator that he is able to push Endeavor's buttons and take the upper hand in the fight, which leads to my favorite panel of the week, because again, my favorite theme of Class A, the young kids stepping up, and even though being young, trying to confront their fears and go into battle. But speaking of fear, we do gotta be honest, and we see that Jiro speaks about the fact that Deku, Aoyama, and a couple other students who've been face to face with All For One and just the other villains, how terrifying it must have been, and the fact that they've been facing something scary for a long time. And so we do see that All For One speaks to this, and the fact that they're now in a real fight. This is beyond school, and that they're facing the Demon Lord. And unfortunately, we see that the young kids, specifically Earphone Jack, does take on a serious injury. She definitely loses one of her earlobes, and we see that he's able to take the upper hand for now. So we'll have to see what happens next week. But we know that the heroes aren't so quick to give up, so looking forward to it. I think there's one episode left. Not sure if they're going on break next week, but it is broken up into 2 parts. So let me know what y'all thought about the season so far, if anything, if y'all reading the manga. Till next time, peace.